Hey everyone, Sarah here. Welcome back to the Thyroid Trainer channel. And today we are talking all about the worst foods for Hashimoto's. If you are suffering from those symptoms like weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, bloating, constipation, hair loss, you name it, all of them, then maybe it's time to try and look at if there's any dietary allergies, food triggers that are causing these symptoms. And these are some of the worst offenders. So, jumping right in, gluten. Hopefully, this isn't a surprise to anybody. It's a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It's also in soy sauce, salad dressings, processed foods, fried foods. It's everywhere. It's hard to escape it. But gluten is really tough for Hashimoto's because it causes an immune reaction in the body because of something called molecular mimicry. Now, gluten proteins mimic thyroid gland cells. So if you are allergic to gluten, your body can't tell the difference between that gluten protein and your thyroid, and it just sends out the immune system, the attackers, to go and attack this invader in the body. And what it ends up doing is attacking your thyroid instead of the gluten proteins. And this is what can lead to Hashimoto's and low thyroid function, or that hypothyroidism. And we want to stop that attack because it's not good for us. And, it really diminishes our quality of life. So it also releases a protein called zonulin. And this protein opens up spaces in the gut. And this is what causes leaky gut and inflammation of the gut. So if you're eating gluten and you are allergic to it or you have a sensitivity to it, keeping to eat it is actually going to lead to leaky gut and inflammation in the gut. And if you can heal the gut and seal up that leaky gut, you will feel so much better because gut inflammation and gut issues go hand in hand with Hashimoto's. They are intricately linked, and we really want to focus on lowering inflammation and healing the gut when we're trying to heal Hashimoto's. Your doctor can run a stool test. And one of my clients, I could see a high amount of zonulin in her stool. And so I told her, are you eating gluten? And she said, yes. So I was like, let's try and cut it out and see how you feel. So you can check for this by asking your doctor to run a stool test and seeing if you have a high amount of zonulin in your stool. Also, when I was first diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I had developed a gluten allergy. I could eat gluten my entire life until I was 29. And then all of a sudden, I started having massive bloating, pain in my stomach, cramping. And when I was able to look back and look at the foods that were causing it, it was pasta, pita bread, cookies, pizza, anything that had gluten in it, I was reacting to. And so I myself kind of diagnosed myself with a gluten allergy. And then my functional medicine doctor later confirmed it. So I just, live in that gluten-free lifestyle. All right, next up, and this is a big one too, is dairy. Again, another cause of inflammation, reaction in the gut, just because of the proteins, casein and whey, can cause this reaction in the gut. Now, I will say some people react differently and they do better with sheep and goat milk or cheese because it has a different protein that's easier to digest. So dairy is another big food allergy in women with Hashimoto's. So if you're really feeling bad and tired and bloating a lot, just try and cut it out and see how you feel. It's all about experimenting and what works for you individually. Okay, next up is sugar. Again, sugar is highly inflammatory in our body. It increases the risk of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. It's also very addictive and can cause bacteria and yeast overgrowth. If you are craving a lot of sugar, it's always worth checking if you might have candida, because that yeast, if you have a candida, it can cause symptoms. It could be a root cause for Hashimoto's, and it also feeds off of sugar. So if you're really craving sugar and you're having a hard time cutting it out, I would definitely look into seeing if you could check for candida or any yeast bacteria overgrowth in the gut. And to kind of combat that, you just want to try and stick to a lower sugar diet. Really avoid any added sugars or sugar substitutes because they are chemicals. They make our body crave sugar even more. So we really want to keep those to a minimum, those Splendas. Um, and you absolutely want to avoid high fructose corn syrup just because it's made from very processed corn and it really causes inflammation and fatty liver disease. So when you are choosing a sweetener, a lot of the times when I bake, I use maple syrup or honey. When I'm looking for a sweetener, these are both natural. They have a lower glycemic index than sugar, and they also contain some beneficial nutrients and minerals. And if you're trying to get off that sugar roller coaster, you really want to fill yourself up with protein, fat, and fiber. That will keep you full and also curb any cravings. You can also try spearmint tea with a little bit of raw honey or maple syrup. I really like, if I'm craving sugar, I really like to just have like a tea with a little bit of honey. Usually that'll just give me enough of a sweet taste in my mouth. Or something else I like to do is like some Greek yogurt with like dark chocolate chips or fruit is really good if you're having sugar cravings, some raspberries, some strawberries. Or also another good go-to is I'll do like a tiny tablespoon of almond butter or peanut butter. It's just like the fat and the thickness will help to curb those sugar cravings as well. Those are just some of the hacks that I use in my life. Okay, next on the list is corn. And the reason corn is probably one of the worst foods for Hashimoto's as well is that it's a cross-reactive food that can cause the same symptoms as gluten. And this is because most of the corn in the US is GMO and it's sprayed with harmful pesticides like glyphosate. So we really want to keep it to a minimum if you can, like only get organic, non-GMO corn. But this is a food I love tortilla chips and tortillas and popcorn, but I try to keep this food to a minimum because I do notice that I tend to bloat more after I eat it, and those are the reasons why. Okay, last on the list, processed and fried foods. I'm sure you know this is a big one. I hate to say it, but they really offer little to no nutritional value. They are often, filled with sugar and chemicals, those seed oils that cause inflammation. So we really want to try and keep these foods to a minimum. And I really like to kind of follow the 80-20 rule. I've talked about this before, but where you're eating healthy and nutrient dense foods that are really good for you and Hashimoto's in the gut 80% of the time. And then that can leave like 20% for these indulgences because, I don't like to tell people to cut out foods entirely because it just never really works. You really want to leave yourself a little bit of room to indulge, to enjoy life. Food is a big part of life. I totally get it. And we want to celebrate and enjoy it. So in conclusion, everything in moderation. And if you're trying to figure out what foods are causing your symptoms, you can use an elimination diet to discover triggers. If you need more help on that, I have a 30-day gut health elimination diet. It comes with guidelines, meals, recipes. You also want to keep a food and symptom journal so that you can track which foods are causing which symptoms. And then, you cut out a bunch of these inflammatory foods and then you slowly add them back in one by one and see which ones are causing a reaction in your body. So if you want more information on that, you can let me know in the comments below. I also have a bunch of wonderful ultimate thyroid-friendly meal guides and recipes that I've put in a nice bundle, anti-inflammatory, dairy and grain-free, hormone health, and high protein. I will link that bundle below as well, and I'm also offering a nice discount code for the holidays, so you can check that out. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting this channel. If this helped you and you found this valuable and informative in any way, don't forget to give a like, a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much again. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see, and I'll be back with you later.